Hello Pisces, welcome to the Plaid Sheep Oracle. I got this new deck, the Divining Poets, and I got the Emily Dickinson edition. Your card says Passenger of Infinity, and I believe it's Leo who also got this card, but the message is different. Your message is about time and how we view it and what we think it means. Well, I'm just going to start. Then we'll insert other things I want to say as we go. We start with the Seven of Wands. And rather than being a defensive card, it's just a card of change, of rearrangement, of something being, maybe dismantled or shaken up, or the underline is the Eight of Cups. And here too, it's not so much about leaving something behind, so much as just all of these cups being turned over, being upset. A kind of reorganization. And then under the Seven of Wands is Judgment, right? This kind of ending place. The Ten of Pentacles, which is also a culmination. And then the Eight of Wands. And then actually, I didn't go this far, but I'm going to go now that I see her here. The Queen of Cups. Now what's interesting is that in one of the decks, I kind of dithered between two cards. And the card I ended up not choosing, I had a look at it, and it was the Queen of Cups. But a different Queen of Cups. So this is the one with this kind of potion in her cup, all, glowing green and smoking. And you have the opportunity now to drink this potion. I think it has everything to do with the opposition to Venus that was exact a couple of days ago. And then Venus's subsequent trine to Pluto. Sorry, loud truck passing. So there is, right, Venus is considered to be exalted in the sign of Pisces. She has a very strong connection to Pisces. And this is about beauty and about youthfulness. And not in the way that it kind of shows up in our society, right, as a worship of a particular kind of youth. But as real youthfulness. So what I was going to say before I started, and I'll say it now, I was thinking this morning, after listening to something, about the idea of the inner child. And I've been coming to this conclusion that these things like inner child or inner critic, or that they have a usefulness when we begin to figure out what's really going on with us, what what our coping mechanisms are, how we've blocked ourselves in various ways. Right in that initial process, being able to separate these things out and speak to them as if to another is useful. But what we want to do eventually is to reintegrate them back, to be whole and no longer fragmented up into all of these different parts. To see the inner child not as some sort of individuated aspect, but as needs and emotions and characteristics of being human. Our society and how it functions in a lot of ways blocks our humanity and how we would really be if we had, you know, a sense of real choice. So we start with this Queen of Swords here, and she's very, right, she's bleak. Sometimes that's seen as a characteristic of her, that she's somebody maybe who is mournful, that there's a, you know, a sternness, a grief to her, to, you know, sort of being solely in the intellect. The card next to her is this Knight of Swords, and you see that this knight is also a woman. And there's this sense of divesting of all of this mourning. That if this queen took off that outfit, that she would be this knight. And then they are both followed by the Star, who's kind of looking down. I always see this card as her looking down at herself, kind of in surprise in some way. Like, this is me? This is me? And then the Six of Cups. Childhood word. So I think that the deal here, Pisces, is that you are going to drink this potion in whatever form that takes for you. And you are going to become more youthful. And I think that that is both literal and metaphorical, or you know, kind of emotional and mental. That there is going to be a literal transformation in your body. If you have, you know, aches and pains or stiffness or things of that nature, that these things will begin to ease. You know, if you have some sort of chronic pain due to just life, you know, maybe you know, tore something in your knee years ago, and you know, you've always felt a little kind of stiffness or pain around that. That is going to ease and perhaps entirely disappear. You may find that you're seeing more clearly if you wear glasses. Right? These kinds of aspects. Now, this does not mean that if you're 60, you're going to look as if you were 20. But there will be, right? There will be an enlivening. There will be more juice in you. Something St. Hildegard of Bingen wrote about, that you wanted to remain juicy, right? That moisture. You know, part of something that can be considered aging is to dry out. And I think that is both literal, that the body loses moisture, but also metaphorical, or it can be. That, you know, some other aspect of you dries out. But you're regaining that youthfulness, right? You're kind of looping around as the passenger of infinity. So we have here the King of Cups. And he doesn't have a message solely as the King of Cups, kind of. I mean, there is, you know, this sense of emotional maturity, of course, also of tenderness and compassion. But here in this first pile, I didn't show him, but down underneath, there's this Ace of Pentacles, right? This kind of a new idea, a new physical reality. And then there's the King of Swords here amongst, right, with the Queen and the Knight. So you're just going to remember him, that he's there. And then this King of Swords. We also have the Six of Swords. And this sense of transition. And then also this late summer's dance. Right? That if you think of yourself as being in the late summer of your life, perhaps. Or even if you think you're in the winter of your life, to right, dial it back. To be back in summer. And to be part of a dance. And then we have the Mother at the bottom of the deck. Very much surrender to care, right? To the care of the universe, of the life force. That has the ability to infuse you with this youthfulness. Cameo appearance. And this is today the life force, the cameo appearance of the life force. You know, sun, water, earth, nature, trees, the viriditas of Hildegard, the greening force. So then we have a new Queen of Swords. Here, not grim, she's covered in flowers. You know, wearing white that actually looks a little pink in this. A much lighter, a much more joyful kind of Queen of Swords. And then the King of Wands. A sense of readiness, a sense of confidence, assurance that you are ready. You're ready for whatever shows up now. And then healing. That all of this, that this whole process is a healing. And, you know, here with this figure covered in shells in the ocean, a healing that is particularly Pisces. It's possible that Leo is coming through because he is often the sign, Leo is often the sign that is seen as the child. Right? There's the child in the Waite Smith Sun card. There's Leo's associated with the 5th house, which is about children and the children that we have. So there is in Leo this youthfulness, but in my experience, it is the Pisceans that I've known who have been more youthful, more childlike, not childish, but childlike in their approach to living. In how they see the world, and how they approach difficulties. Sometimes there's a real aspect of wonder and fun. And Pisces is often seen as the end. I'm going to close the window. There's all kinds of noise going on today. It's a little distracting. So yes, so Pisces as a very youthful, fun kind of sign and energy. And I think this is what is being really restored to you, and perhaps restored to many of us, that the Pisces energy in the world is being healed, being restored. Because I think it has suffered in the kind of mechanized, industrial, very boxed in society that we have. I think the Pisces energy has suffered and become distorted, and that there is a healing going on. Maybe through Neptune's passage through Pisces. And then he's going to enter into Aries, and perhaps, then it'll be about integrating this for all of us. So then, interestingly, we have a kind of, the message sort of repeats. Here, this is, right here, I talked a lot about the body, but this is really the mind. Right, the Queen of Swords, the Knight of Swords, the Star, who's associated with Aquarius. We had the King of Swords showed up. And then with the King of Cups and the Queen of Cups, we have an emotional healing and an emotional enlivening. And now we meet Earth. The bottom of the deck is this Pachamama. And I sort of have trouble with this card because she looks very mournful. And although certainly the Earth has been damaged in so many ways, I don't think that the Earth actually that feels this way. At least not, in a real way. But this may be how your Earth, your body has felt. A little mournful, a little sad. But then the underlying is this Earth that is, right, it's kind of clearer. There's a determination in this Earth. And beneath that card is the serpent. Change, shifting. And below that actually is the circle. Community. So this healing and enlivening for the body, for your body, for the body of the earth, and for, you know, kind of our societal body, right? Our community, you know, literally the people in it. And so we have the beloved. You know, who we are, who we really know ourselves to be when we have those quiet moments. When the outside retreats. And maybe that's why I had to close the windows. To just be here and not have all of that outside trying to get in. When we are in that space, we feel ourselves as the beloved. We feel others as the beloved. You know, we're taught, and I think this has been going on for millennia, that when things get tough, when there's privation of some kind or challenge or disaster, that we kind of have to batten down the hatches. And then maybe we even have to, you know, if the disaster is widespread enough, that we really have to, you know, just take care of our own. And I think that we may be coming into a period where we begin to see that that is not the case. That it's much better if we can get together and solve problems as a group, find ways to share, find ways to help each other so that we, you know, kind of help the whole. Right, we have the ghost dance. That confusing place, the place filled with fog. And, you know, now I'm sort of, I've been listening to this book about the Vikings called The Children of Ash and Elm. And for a long time, archaeologists called this period in the late 6th century, from around, you know, the mid 500s, as a migratory period, as a big migratory period, because there were all these settlements that were found that had just been abandoned. And it isn't until quite recently that other kinds of scientists have discovered that during that period, from between 536 to 539 AD, there were 3 enormous volcanic eruptions. And not in Europe, but there was one in South America, one that is unknown, and I'm not sure where the third one was. But the result of these things is that there was a kind of winter. There was a 3-year period where summer really didn't come, particularly to northern spaces where, you know, the Viking people lived. There's other stuff that happens. There's a plague that happens, the plague of Justinian in 540. Rome is attacked through this period, right? And it would have been, right, the sun was literally covered over. And nobody would have known why. Right? These eruptions happened far away. They would just have woken up one morning and discovered that the sun was clouded over. How frightening would that be? There's a little bit of that, right, happening here, too. Right? I think this is originally meant to be the moon, but it feels here, right, like it could be the sun clouded over. So it's as if we've been living in this space kind of ever since then. of, you know, fear of disaster. But now, right, there's this fire that can allow this to be seen for what it really is. That it isn't, you know, it isn't something that's permanent. It isn't something that has to be there in our minds. That there is a way around it, right? We don't have to be angry with one another. We don't have to fight one another, right? That we are all the beloved, right? This is, right, that's the fire. And I think, Pisces, that your energy plays a big part in this. That Pisces energies finding this youthfulness, finding their way back to themselves as a part. I think Neptune going through Pisces has also, right, it's caused a lot of confusion and delusion and anxiety. But that is going to get cleared away too. And that this is kind of it's like a heads up, Pisces. You are, essentially, you are at the forefront. You and your energy are at the forefront of a shift that is going to occur in the next couple of years. And that it's, right, it starts with you. It starts with you really embracing this youthfulness that's coming back to you. We have here the Two of Wands. And interestingly, below him is the Devil, and actually below that, I'm just seeing now the Star, and also, interestingly, the Moon. And then this Four of Wands on the other side. So I'm seeing this as, right, you're here. You have committed to this change that's happening to you, this healing, this becoming more youthful, this, you know, feeling wonder and juiciness in your life. And so now you're kind of looking out to see what what you're going to do with that. And there is the Devil, right? To, you know, possibly you could deal with the Devil. But then there's the Star on the other side. And then the Moon, which is your card in the tarot correspondence. Right? So you know that you're going to, right, you've passed through the Devil. You had this healing period in the Star. And then you came to be yourself. And then there's this new structure. So this is sort of it's like the plan, the vision for helping everybody else. Because I think that this process may come most easily to you. It might be trickier for somebody with a lot of Virgo energy, or a lot of Capricorn energy, or a lot of Sagittarius energy, perhaps. That other signs, might have difficulty. And we also have this Knight of Wands, Leo, making another little appearance. I don't know, you may want to watch the Leo reading. There might be something in there for you. So Wheel of Fortune, leveraging, paying attention to, minding, especially here with this Two of Pentacles coming. Understanding the changing energies. You know, right before that volcano thing, or actually during the volcano thing, there were 8 exact Uranus to Neptune oppositions, with Uranus in fiery Leo and Neptune in Aquarius, the air. The air being confused, covered over, misted, right? The mists of Neptune. Now, there were choices for people of what they could do about that. And in general, the choice they made was to armor up. But we can make a different choice. And to have known that there was this Uranus-Neptune opposition happening. And certainly some people, well, no, nobody knew, because nobody knew about Neptune or Uranus. So even those people watching the stars didn't know. That in particular relationship was happening. But now we have more information. You can pay attention to these things and understand the energies involved, and how they can be, how to ride the wave, how to use it to its best, most beautiful advantage, right? With the world. How to use it for the world, right? So that we reach this Ace of Swords for everybody. Formal advice. Not surprisingly, we have the Page of Wands, exploration, right? This page energy, and a fiery page energy. Right below her, we have the Eight of Wands again, with movement. All of the energies that are happening now, and how to really take advantage of that. And below that, we have the final king, the King of Earth, of Pentacles. And actually below him is this particular Nine of Wands, which is resilience. The bottom of the deck is change. Allow this change. You know, even if it seems irresponsible, it might. In the current climate, people might be, you know, you got to do this, 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 and this. You got to be ready. You got to do the thing. I mean, and it doesn't matter what end of the spectrum you're on, right? Whether people are telling you to homestead and prep, or whether they're telling you have to vote for this person, and that person, or you have to fundraise for these things, or you have to, you know, be an activist for these things. If you're knowing, right, if your star has a different agenda for you, and it may be that some of these are on your agenda, I don't know, but it doesn't, right, it sort of doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel, right, part of Pisces' gift is not seeing borders, seeing humanity as one big circle rather than a bunch of divided things. So you may not really have an interest in some of this stuff. It may feel fragmented to you now. Right? You want to get all the kids together. Right? And play a game together. The idea of Ubuntu is coming to me. I am because we are. Hold that line for yourself. Allow yourself to know. So we have the build the structure. Build it and they will come. Pisces. Build it and they will come. And, you know, it's interesting to me. We have this Empress card here. She is Venus. And I think she is the first to arrive. She is waiting for you to build the structure, Pisces. Waiting. And she will be your first guest, the exalted guest. And she is going to spend some time retrograde next year. And part of it in Pisces. She'll move through your sign into Aries, and then she's going to turn around and come back into Pisces. And then back into Aries. So this space, and I hadn't really thought about it this way before until this moment. This Neptunian thing, you know, I think Neptune rides under the radar. I think his transits don't get talked about nearly as much as Pluto, Uranus, and Saturn, and Jupiter. And I think that's how Neptune likes it. It's sub rosa. Right? I mean, Neptune wasn't even found as himself. He was discovered because of his effect on Uranus. Right? It's that underlying energy. Sneaky, a little bit. So he's been moving through Pisces, changing lots of things, creating some confusion and delusion, maybe to really get people to think about stuff that they haven't thought about before. To you know, maybe move way over into one extreme in order to come back to a center that makes sense. And when he's done, he moves into Aries, and then there's an integration moment because he meets Saturn. I mean, he actually moves into Aries. He and Saturn do a little dance about a degree apart. And then in February of 2026, they meet right at the 0 degree of Aries. An integration of things that have been discovered and learned and reworked. And then there you are. Success. Believe. Believe that it is possible for there to be a different kind of world, for people to react differently to stressors. Believe. And in your own life, you know, should stuff come back up again, embrace it, love it, say, this is great, this is part of the process. I'm so glad. You know, that thing is my trigger and I love it. Because every time I get a little bit further and I can see how far I've come. And I can see what is possible. So I asked about the kings, right? The kings showing up. And the underlying card is the Seven of Swords, which I say here is all of that nonsense that we get in society, that we get taught. Whereas the bottom of the deck that we can't see is the Ace of Cups. Right? The reality, what we really want. You know, I mean, we like to have a little fighting. We like a little competition. We like a little of tussle. But the kind of vast, you know, perpetual war arrangement is not what we want. And so what the kings are is sovereignty. Sovereignty to be the fool. To allow yourself to be youthful again. To be young and juicy and have faith and optimism and fun. Right? And to feel secure in that as this Nine of Pentacles. So the kings as a culmination, as the final stage before we roll over and begin again. Before we, you know, can turn back. Right? You meet elderly people who are like that. You know, they've lived their whole life and they've gotten to this point and they've seen the joke. And they're able to, right, to embrace this real youthfulness again. Pisces, I feel great optimism. I look forward to this energy moving through society. I hope that you enjoy it moving through you. I will see you next time. So long.